When a new 911 came along, Porsche would always launch the basic rear-drive variant first, then increase performance with the Carrera 4, the S, the GT3, and the Turbo in the years that followed. We first met the Taycan Turbo S, Taycan Turbo and Taycan 4S in 2021. Then came the Cross Turismo, which is basically a wagonish, off-roadish version of the Taycan. Now, 12 months after the first Taycan hit town, they are introducing a less powerful, more affordable, rear-drive version called, simply, Taycan. This rear-drive variant is sedan only and is the Taycan in its purest and cheapest form. And it's got a lot to live up to, joining the family of the 2022 Drive Car of the Year Best EV over $100,000 winner. Externally, the base Taycan is very similar to the faster and more expensive Taycan 4S. The major differences are 19-inch alloys compared to 20s, black brake calipers not red, steel springs instead of air suspension, black sills instead of body color, and black window surrounds instead of chrome. As for what's underneath, this is where the differences are more significant. The rear-drive Taycan is equipped with the same 79.3 kilowatts per H battery pack as the 4S, but its single rear axle motor delivers 240 kilowatts compared to 320 kilowatts for the 4SS motors across both axles. The test car we are driving here has been heavily optioned by Porsche. In fact, it's carrying $40,000 worth of options, raising its RRP to $194,800, which is pretty much bang on the 4S. So, if you're going to buy one, yours won't start out like the one in our pictures. Also, when you're choosing your Taycan, ask the dealer if you can get one with Continentals rather than Hankooks. The former felt like it had more grip when we tested both back-to-back during the launch drive. Dual-zone climate control is also here, along with satellite navigation, smartphone mirroring, and 2 USB-A charge ports under the armrest, an armrest that doesn't stay up when you open it, by the way, which means you've got to hold it open while you ferret around inside. It also gets a larger boot, 407L compared to 366L, which has to do with the sound system. While the Taycan 4S and above get a premium Bose unit with subwoofer in the boot, the base Taycan doesn't. Despite no front motor, the base Taycan retains the same 84L underbonnet storage. The Porsche Taycan comes with 3 individual screens, with the option to add a 4th in front of the passenger. This Taycan has one beautiful curved 16.8-inch screen in front of the driver that serves as the instrument cluster, and has 5 configurable views plus built-in touchpoints to change light and chassis functions. For somebody used to an all-in-one touchscreen on other cars, this distributed control system takes a bit of getting used to. But once you do, you'll find it easy to navigate. Passive and active safety features are 100% standard on all Taycan variants, so that means airbags everywhere for both rows, and all the latest active driver assist systems to try and keep you from harm. This is hard to gauge on the Taycan because it has no real rivals. About the closest pure EV to it is the Audi e-tron GT, which, because Audi and Porsche are both members of the VW Group, shares the same platform and electrical architecture. The more expensive e-tron GT has more power and is all-wheel drive, which makes it more of a rival to the Taycan 4S. But if we persist with it as a base Taycan rival, then the Taycan's heightened dynamics give it a distinctive difference that will appeal to different buyer types, and means these two will seldom be cross-shopped. As for how the base Taycan's $156,000 stacks up compared to the Taycan 4S, that's easier to answer. I think the base Taycan is a touch underpriced, or the 4S is a touch overpriced. The performance gap feels more like $25,000 to $30,000 when you look at what you do and don't get on each, and what they can and can't do. I'd recommend optioning the Performance Battery Plus that elevates real-world performance into a more Porsche-like league, plus the Bose sound system and adaptive air suspension. That, plus metallic paint, adds $21,000 to the overall price and gives you a base Taycan with near enough to 4S performance for $16,000 less than the actual 4S. As for the other facet of value for money, the Taycan comes with a 3-year warranty and needs to be serviced every 2 years or 30,000 kilometers. 2 base model Taycans were available for testing, and both had the Performance Plus battery pack that has 93.4 kilowatt-hours of storage and boasts 280 kilowatts of power at the motor compared to the 240 kilowatt standard. But I can tell you how the base Taycan handles, because both test cars had standard steel springs and adaptive dampers, not optional air suspension. This machine does a brilliant job straddling the divide of road-hugging handling and luxury-like comfort, depending on which damper mode you select. It's not as nimble as a 911, nor is the steering as sharp or feelsome, but while that seems to be the default benchmark for, does it feel like a Porsche? This Porsche is not trying to be a 911. This is a car that is fun to drive on a winding road, and gives the driver a much better time than we have any right to expect of a car weighing 2,130 kilograms, which is 90 kilograms less than the 4S, and around 250 kilograms less than the Turbo and Turbo S when equipped with the Performance Battery Plus. Now, touring range. The rear-drive Taycan A standard battery pack is good for 369 kilometers and takes 8 hours to recharge if you have an 11 kilowatts outlet. The Performance Battery Plus allows a claimed 434 kilometers of touring range and 9 hours for a full charge. The answer is yes, it still looks and drives like a 21st century Porsche. Sure, it's not as mind-blowingly fast as other Taycan variants, but it still has the looks, the dynamism, and the style you'd expect. And I reckon it's better value than the 4S, once outfitted with a few well-chosen options. Glenn Butler is one of Australia's best-known motoring journalists, having spent the last 25 years reporting on cars on radio, TV, web and print. He's a former editor of Wheels, Australia's most respected car magazine, and was deputy editor of Drive.au before that. Glenn's also worked at an executive level for 2 of Australia's most prominent car companies, so he understands how much care and consideration goes into designing and developing new cars. As a journalist, he's driven everything from Ferraris to Fiats on all continents except Antarctica, and loves discovering each car's unique personality and strengths. Glenn knows a car's price isn't indicative of its competence, and even the cheapest car can enhance your life and expand your horizons. About Glenn Butler.